This video is sponsored by Bityard. With over 400 cryptocurrencies to choose from on their spot exchange, dozens of USDT pairs for futures trading, perpetual coin futures, trade commodities like gold, silver and oil, Forex, and major indices like Nasdaq. You can buy crypto from Bityard with over 50 different fiat currencies using Visa, MasterCard, Google or Apple Pay. If you like, you can use their copy trade facility, follow other traders who will execute trades on your behalf, or become a copy trader yourself. So if you want a bit of that, click the link in the description. So yeah, I'll just record this little portion of the stream for those who don't have access to the Patreon. It's something I would have said anyway if I wasn't doing this stream tonight. So effectively, what we're seeing now on Bitcoin is we're breaking down out of this ascending channel, which we've been talking about the likelihood of that, right, and how these channels often break to the down. They're more likely to break to the down. So it looks like we're getting that now. I mean, it's not candle body closed right now, but it does appear that that's going to happen. Again, we can't consider it closed until it's closed, but it's not got long to go. On top of that, we were also waiting, and we've been waiting for a really long time for this cheeky span to close below the cloud, which will cause at this point now a short signal on the daily time frame. So red portion of the cloud here, obviously a price action below the cloud, and a cheeky span closure below the cloud. Again, this hasn't closed yet. We are sort of toying with the idea of perhaps maybe bouncing on the bottom of this Bollinger Band, but at the moment of recording and doing this stream, that's not happened. So looks like that might happen. And so with one of these signals, this isn't a signal that gives a continuation of a trend, not like the itchy cloud that we like to play, the best one. This is like a second way that we can play it, and it generally yields like a decent it's not how much it will give you back, it's about how often it's a valid signal. And it is a valid signal. It's worth considering this to be one if and when we close this candle body like this. Again, to avoid it, we'd have to close above 39,369. So we've got a fair bounce to go. But again, we're 8 o'clock now. Are we UTC +1? So I guess it's all confusing here. Clock's going backwards and forwards all over the place. So yeah, I mean, it's not closed it yet, but it doesn't look particularly good. Obviously below all major moving averages, rejection right there on the center of the Bollinger Band, or you could even call it the 21 exponential, in between the two of them. And on the weekly, it was a clean rejection on the 10 exponential as well. So lots of rejections, lots of downwards facing. Price action doesn't look particularly. It's not looking particularly good, let's face it. But on the last live stream that we did, we were talking about how we were expecting lower prices anyway, and how 32 seems realistic, and how I've got a buy order down at 31 for what could be like a strike down and a bounce up from this region. And I still think that's likely. And so on the last live stream, it sounded really bearish, didn't it, when we were talking about this last week, about how, let's think about Bitcoin going down by 20%, which means we should consider some altcoins to go down by 30 or 40 or so percent. All of that is, well, it does appear that it's heading in that direction, and we've got the indicators to I suppose to back that theory up at this point now. So breaking of this formation and a potential short signal developing on the daily. So if you get a short signal on a daily, you expect to see larger moves. If you see it on the 15-minute, it's fair enough, it'll play. Same with the hourly, it'll play. The larger the time frame, the bigger the move. And so obviously we're seeing this on a daily now, and if we get it, I would easily be expecting that 32 and my buy order of 31 to get tagged, and see where we go from there. And again, from the candle, from the price that we're at right now, down to my 31 buy order would be just short of about a 19%. So it is basically 19% from where we are at right now. So that sounds about right. I might be a bit optimistic and thinking that we'll get to the 31, and maybe I'll add a little extra to that, so maybe 31,250 or something along those lines. And I'm only really expecting a wick and probably a decent bounce from that area as well. I'm not saying reversal, it's too early to say anything like that. What we're looking at now is a breakdown from an ascending channel, a short signal generating, and effectively rejections on major moving averages on dailies and on weeklies. So it doesn't look good. But on a fundamental basis, why is all this happening? We've got Dixie running like mad. We've been talking about that for a long time. We've got stocks selling off like crazy. Obviously, as a result of the Dixie and inflation and poor earnings because of inflation and Federal Reserve monetary policy. So there's all kinds of reasons why stocks are unable to pull themselves up, and it becomes a bit of a snowballing effect, really. But it's similar to what we saw in March when we were talking about sell the rumour, buy the news. Sell the rumour all the way down this major consolidation, buy the news, Federal Reserve monetary policy kicks in, and lo and behold you have a nice big pump, and effectively higher highs form thereafter. So I would be expecting the same kind of thing to take place. It looks like the 50 basis points for the Federal Reserve is likely to be the main state of play, and that's fine. Well, it's not they were going to listen to me. Oh, please, sir, can you raise it by 50 basis points to start with? But they should have done that to begin with. I don't know why they didn't, but they should have done it to begin with. Now they're going to do it, and that's fine. In my opinion, the markets have largely priced that in because effectively I think they were pricing that in throughout the majority of this downtrend anyway for stocks, and obviously crypto is basically like a byproduct of stocks at the moment. Well, it's like an afterthought, isn't it, of the major indices. So I still think the majority of the traditional markets pullbacks have largely priced that in. But now, for insult to injury, when you're looking at all these stocks that are really falling, it's because nobody's bloody buying anything. I mean, there's no coincidence that Netflix crashed on the same month that I unsubscribed to them. It's not like I'm like can't afford it or anything like that. I just feel like it's one of those things that I don't really want to own. I don't think I get any value out of Netflix. And then insult to injury, I was thinking very carefully. I think I'm going to get rid of this. The kids can watch something else. And then I turned it on that moment that I was having that serious thought, and they said next month we're going to charge you more. I went, no, you're not. You won't be charging me anything anymore. And it looks like a lot of people followed suit with me. So but you see what I mean? There's all kinds of reasons why people cancel subscriptions, stop buying stuff, and inflation is going to be a major part of that. There's a lot of people out there that can't afford these sort of things, or need to watch what they're spending, especially with all the gas prices and oil prices, petrol, this, that, and the other. So spending is what keeps the economy floating, and if people don't spend, the economy doesn't float as well. It starts to effectively sink. And I think this is why the Fed really do need to sort out the inflation, because in order to keep the money circulating, it needs to circulate. And at the moment, all it's doing is inflating and staying stagnant because people aren't spending it because they don't have it available to spend. So obviously that sort of thing doesn't necessarily impact Bitcoin on its fundamental basis, but through association now with Wall Street and major indices, unfortunately, it is because it's all quite highly correlated at this point. Overall, though, it's probably just a blip in the ocean right now. It feels a lot worse for Matt Damon and his friends who bought the top over here. I can understand the pain. We've all been through pain before. Pain is part of it. No pain, no gain. All right. I've got lots of altcoins. Obviously, I've got quite a bit of Bitcoin. I'm not unwilling. I'm not looking to particularly sell on the way down. I would more than happily ride whatever it's got going for us and buy lower and lower and lower, because for a spot trader, effectively, almost like an investor, it's not going to be too far along down the line where this actually works its way out from the ground. We think about the highest point here to effectively the lowest point here, 52. If we manage to come back down to its previous low here, that's 58. If we actually go down a great deal further to perhaps maybe 20 to 70% retrace, all of these areas, there's a reason they're mapped out here. They're not just supports. They are buy zones, effectively buy zones. Now again, I bought this zone out. The last area I bought Bitcoin was at the 35,000, just around the CME gap. If it melts through there, that's also fine. One of the most forgiving things you could ever buy is Bitcoin. Surprisingly, I say this all the time. I truly do believe that. It doesn't take an enormous amount of time to recoup your money, even if you're Matt Damon and bought over here. So what I'm suggesting is just chill out. All right, everyone, just chill. Altcoins obviously carry an enormous amount of risk, but there are also plenty of altcoins out there that will dwarf Bitcoin when the recovery comes. But it doesn't feel like a recovery is in the post anytime soon. But lower prices should be welcomed by anyone who wants to play anything, whether it's crypto or stocks, commodities, whatever. Lower prices is what you want. Higher prices is effectively what comes later. So like I say, I wouldn't be particularly concerned about what's going on right now. If anything, I would welcome it, and I'll be looking for lower. And 31,000 being my next major area, but I do think that this area will see a reasonably decent bounce, if not the bounce, but it is too early to say. Like I say, May is when the Federal Reserve have their next major meeting. It's only next week, isn't it, really, if you think about it? It's the 26th today. So it's not far away. I'm not unsure of the exact date. But that 50 basis point is likely to, leading into that, is likely to continue with lower prices for Bitcoin. Maybe even a nice big dumpy dump like this, which is kind of what I'm hoping for, so I can get those orders filled, and then a potential turnaround from that point, maybe. Again, we'll wait and see. At the moment, we are looking on a technical basis like we do want to keep coming down and probably get a deeper drop down, like I say, to hopefully my buy order. So give or take 15-20% from this very moment in time. But we'll wait and see. But anyway, I'll leave that there. I'll upload that after we finish the stream, and we'll start looking at some of your